Hello and welcome to this introduction to our webinar series, Heating for Net Zero, Decarbonising Homes, Buildings and Estates. So before we start, a little bit about Innovate UK KTN. We exist to connect innovators with new partners and new opportunities beyond existing thinking. One of the programmes that we do this through is Net Zero Places Innovation Network, which aims to help make net zero a reality in the UK by working with local and regional authorities and agencies to connect, collaborate, inform, share experiences and lessons learned to adopt innovation and level up across the UK. Which is why we're delivering this webinar series with the purpose of answering the common questions and sharing good practice and experiences. But we couldn't deliver this on our own. I'm pleased to say that we're delivering this webinar series in partnership with the Net Zero Hubs, and I'm happy to introduce Peter Goody, the Energy Manager at the Greater South East Energy Hub, who will give a brief introduction to the series and also give you a description of each webinar. Over to you, Peter.
Thank you, Neelam. Hi, I'm Peter Goody and I work for the Greater South East Net Zero Hub. And we're really pleased to be supporting this programme of lunch and learn sessions developed by Innovate UK KTN. We're one of 5 hubs funded by central government across England, and we're here to provide support to the public sector to develop net zero projects up to the point of commercial investment. We currently provide support to over 200 strategic projects with project value of around £4 billion on a wide range of themes covering power generation, energy efficiency and heat decarbonisation. So wherever you are on your heat decarbonisation journey, please get in touch with your local Net Zero Hub. I'm now going to go through the sessions in a little bit more detail. The last 200 years of human society has been dominated by the use of fossil fuels. The science shows that burning fossil fuels continues to have an impact on climate, which is increasingly reshaping and reinforcing change in global environmental processes, which in turn are leading to huge downside risks for ecosystems and human society. UK government has adopted its statutory net zero target and recently published its net zero and heating and building strategies, and is using national carbon budgets to ratchet up decarbonisation as a way of meeting international climate change obligations. The focus to date has been on the energy supply side, with carbon reductions achieved over the last 20 years by shifting from coal and oil to gas, and more recently, wind and solar generation. This drive for zero carbon and renewable energy sources now contributes around 1/4 to 1/3 of total UK energy generation and has decoupled carbon emissions from energy supply. To date, greenhouse gas emissions reductions have been achieved through very little direct involvement with or disruption for consumers, since it's been done through our energy bills. The next phase is decarbonising how we heat buildings, which will be much, much harder, since it will require the active participation of consumers and users of buildings, whether in our homes, offices, factories or shops. Building energy use makes up around 30% of our national greenhouse gas emissions, and heating buildings accounts for nearly 4/5 of that contribution from 30 million buildings in the UK, of which 28 million are homes. To achieve the net zero target, whether that's 2050 or earlier through your local council's climate emergency declaration, we will have to decarbonise heating practically to zero, since other parts of the economy will not be able to fully decarbonise. We already have most of the technologies and techniques at hand. What we do not have are the mechanisms to achieve decarbonisation at scale and pace. Local authorities hold a central place in heat decarbonisation as owners and users of property, as placemakers wishing to shape sustainable communities, and as enablers of economic activity. This places councils in a position, if they choose, to lead and demonstrate what is possible to achieve heat decarbonisation, as well as providing pathways for others to stimulate opportunities for investment, helping supply chains to grow and developing local expertise. Now, this would normally lead to real operational cost savings. However, with global events and the volatility of energy prices, the argument for heat decarbonisation is about operational cost stabilisation through investment using historically cheap capital. This makes sound financial sense, as well as reducing pressure on public sector budgets. This can also bring wider, really important co-benefits, for example, by helping to tackle fuel poverty, by raising home energy standards, or by creating a skilled green workforce and supply chains. So the Net Zero Places programme is designed to help you take forward your energy projects and programmes for heat decarbonisation. Traditionally, we've taken a piecemeal business as usual approach to energy efficiency and heating in retrofit, having regard to building regulations as a standard, whether that's for insulation, windows, or improving heating, ventilation, and cooling systems. There is now a much more integrated approach to energy retrofit, which encompasses a suite of principles to ensure that the intended outcomes, building decarbonisation, comfort, and affordability, to drive the approach that is followed. Fabric First involves maximising the performance of the building's external envelope through designing in high energy performance in a coordinated way into retrofit before employing add-ons like solar PV. This approach helps prioritise investment and aids appropriate design of the heating and power options if the building envelope is already thermally efficient. Much of the technologies and ways of improving building energy efficiency already exist. It is how they are employed effectively, avoiding simple mistakes and unintended consequences that is important. So what will this session include? Well, the first session on the 29th of June will provide the basis for the subsequent sessions in this Lunch and Learn season. It will aim to explore, amongst other things, the concept of the building envelope, its thermal performance, managing airflow, condensation, performance standards and their application, cost optimization to help prioritize activity, retrofit coordination, and dealing with the remaining energy demand from the impacts on sizing, heating, cooling, and power needs. Session 2 on the 13th of July will consider heat pumps. In very simple terms, heat pumps compress low-grade heat captured from the external environment, transferring and compressing that heat so it can be used in the building space. Heat pumps are a conventional technology with relatively few components, which makes them mechanically reliable. They're commonplace in refrigeration and other appliances, and they're used extensively in colder countries other than the UK. Norway and Sweden, for example, heat around 50% of their homes using heat pumps despite their colder winters. Heat pumps achieve significantly higher ratios of input energy to heat released compared with traditional heating alternatives. Their efficiency is affected by a range of factors, including the thermal efficiency of the building they're heating, the heating demand profile, and the environmental temperatures of the heat source. They can be viewed as a zero carbon technology if they're supplied from renewable electricity, whether that is derived from the grid or generated locally from a renewable source. Now, there's a lot of talk about heat pumps to meet net zero objectives, but when and where should they be utilised? This session will explore these considerations. To complement the session on heat pumps, we will follow on the 14th of September looking at alternative approaches to heating. There are a range of alternative fuels and technologies that could be employed, either in conjunction with or as a more appropriate alternative to the heat pump. We will consider in particular the applicability of biofuels, hydrogen, and other technologies like solar thermal. We will also consider ways of heating more than one building using a heat network. This session on integrating the technology on the 28th of September will explore how technologies can be brought together to achieve optimal heating and energy performance, as well as decarbonisation. Some of the topics we hope to cover include heat and power optimization, building management systems, and storage as part of an integrated heat solution. Understanding how proposed interventions will perform using a data-led approach has become part of good design, monitoring, and validation of building decarbonisation. This session on the 12th of October will explore the value of modelling at all stages of design and retrofitting buildings, what tools and models are available, and when to use them, along with the importance of data. If we're going to move to an electrified world for heating, where the power comes from is of critical importance. In almost all situations, changing to an electrically based heating system will require interaction with the power network. Engaging effectively with the network operator in the area at the right time and with the right information will ensure you achieve your project on time and budget. This session on the 26th of October will focus on the power network. We'll explore how the network functions and how to work with your network operator to realise your project. The session will also discuss alternatives to conventional network connections, which may be applicable for certain types of heat project. This session on the 9th of November rounds off the first season of Lunch and Learns by taking a look into the future of heating. What ideas are being developed to challenge the current solutions? We hope to cover topics such as modular methods of construction, harvesting waste heat from other sources like mines and sewers, and the use of natural solutions as a way of improving thermal performance. The session will also explore alternatives to finding solutions where there may not be an established way for the public sector to procure them. So we look forward to you taking part in what we hope the Net Zero Hubs is both a very informative and interactive programme working with Innovate UK KTN. Thank you, Neelam. Over to you.
Thanks, Peter, for that roundup of all the sessions that will be coming up. I think finally to say thank you. Please join in on our activities and our webinar series. You should get all the links and what you need in the description of this video. If not, please visit Innovate UK KTN website for all the details, and each webinar will share the experience of a local authority and also have a technical expert, which will all be recorded except for the panel sessions. So if you do want to see everything and get all the insights, please join us on the day. So we hope to see you there.